Today we're working a full shift as a DoorDash top dasher on a really busy day. We're expecting the earnings to be extremely high. I'm at a 74% acceptance rate, and the first one, it's a massive one. It was $12 for Chipotle, $12 plus, and the mileage was just like 2 miles. And I try to be realistic on this channel. I understand that most people will not have the catering program on their DoorDash account, as well as the Diamond program. So I have a lot of advantages here. So because I understand that, we'll quickly go through this one. It was a massive payout, over $30. And then the next one we got was also a catering order, and this was just insane. It said $9 plus, and it ended up being over $40. So 73 through the first 2 orders in less than 1 hour. I obviously understand that that is not going to happen to hardly any people, but you know, that was my experience, so I should share it. But also, this is a little bit more realistic. I got one for some boroughs. It's 2 orders, $8 for 9 miles, and I didn't want to reject this one because it would count as 2 declines, so I got to keep that acceptance rate high, so I accepted it. As you might imagine, I was not too happy to complete both of these orders. I mean, the first customer was really close to the restaurant, but they only tipped $1. At least the second customer, they were like 6 miles away, but they did tip more than $1. They tipped like, it was like 3, so whatever, $8 for that. Like, I can handle that, especially after the first 2 orders of the day. Unfortunately, we weren't in a great area, so I kind of figured we weren't going to get an amazing order, and we got an $8 order for George & Sons and McDonald's, and I got a call from DoorDash saying like, are you going to be able to complete this order? And I was like, yeah, I don't see why I wouldn't be able to. But then I realized that they were probably calling me because the customer complained that they weren't getting the order, probably because they didn't tip. And not only did that customer leave no tip, but the McDonald's customer also did not tip. So we got $8 in all base pay to deliver it to an area that I didn't want to be in because there's no restaurants over there. Yeah, definitely, I'm definitely missing those catering orders, but we did go all the way back to at least like this minor hotspot. We got one for Taco Bell for $5.50 for 3 miles, and DoorDash says it's a high-paying order. Of course, I can debate all I want on if this is a high-paying order or not. I don't think it is, but whatever, that's what DoorDash says, so we have to accept the order anyway, because at least it's not a terrible order, and we got to keep that acceptance rate high. And we also got an add-on order here for $5 for a restaurant that was like, it's only going to be like 0.5 miles added to the trip, so of course I'm going to take that. And just with those 2 orders and everything else today, we are over $100 in the first 2 hours, so that's really solid. That's amazing. Of course, that is averaging $50 an hour, but that is not going to last. We got one now for Dairy Queen and Safeway. This is such a weird order because I picked up the Dairy Queen order first, and then I have to drive 4 miles to the Safeway, shop for 3 items, and then deliver it to their apartment. And I have no idea what the customer expects is going to happen with their Dairy Queen order, but I have a good feeling that everything is going to be melted since it's ice cream, and it is 115 degrees in Arizona right now, and it's just going to be sitting in my car while I'm shopping for the 3 items in Safeway. So really weird here, but I mean, I'm just doing what I'm instructed to do. Well, I can't be too sure that the ice cream did not completely melt, but I did the best I could. I shopped like really quickly, got the 3 items. Of course, the checkout line is like really long, like always. I wish I could just use self-checkout here, but the app tells me that I'm not allowed to. So we took care of those 2, got like just over $12 for that. Thought it was fine, and then immediately we got a Panda Express order for just over $5. It's okay, the mileage is short, so I guess it's fine. And we also got an add-on order for $6 for an additional 3 miles from Jack in the Box. This is okay, sure, I guess you could consider this a high pay order, but it did bring me to an area that I wasn't a big fan of. There's not really a ton of restaurants, and after it gave me a $3.25 order for Chipotle, I'm pretty sure this one is going to be a no-tip order, so this one will be my 3rd no-tip order of the day. I mean, I can't imagine they tip like 50 cents. I don't think that would really make sense for them to do that. Oh man, that Chipotle order was, I mean, I could see it coming from a mile away. They did not provide an apartment number, and they live in a giant complex. So how am I even supposed to find them? There's just no way that I could do that. I went to a leasing office and was like, hey, is this your name? Is this anyone's name that works here? They said no. And I was like, well, they no-tipped me. The order's extremely late because it's just been sitting at the restaurant for like a really long time, and I can't find them. So I waited the 5 minutes. I took a picture in a safe place, and then I left. What else am I supposed to do? I even contacted DoorDash support, and I was like, hey, I just want to let you know that I can't find the customer. And they're like, okay, just leave it. And I was like, okay, whatever. So yeah, obviously no tip order there. Now we got one for $5 for like almost 8 miles, going completely out of my zone after we drove the 4 miles back into the zone to get to a hotspot. And I couldn't do it. That was my first decline of the day. Dropped me to a 76% acceptance rate. And then we got a $8 order here for like 7 miles. Well, I mean, the North Italia order, it definitely could have been higher paying, but it was really smooth. And I was thinking, man, I have to drive back to the hotspot like 5 miles, but there are a couple restaurants in this area that I'm hoping to get an order from, and that is exactly what happened. We got one for Safeway. It was a stack. I didn't have to shop for it. I just had to pick up the items. And this one was $25 plus. I got extremely sweaty doing all of that. Both customers ordered a lot of food, and it was exhausting, especially when I was going up to the 3rd floor. I actually have no idea how much money I made because the DoorDash app kind of glitched out on me. So I think it was somewhere around $30 because I have 163 in the first like 4.5 hours of this shift, which is crazy. But because the DoorDash app glitched out on me, I got a good order for a really nice restaurant. I couldn't accept it, so I guess I declined that one. But I do have a Chick-fil-A order for $10.50 here, so I'm gonna do it. Got the Chick-fil-A order taken care of. Always nice to receive over $10 for an order that really doesn't take that long. And same thing with this Walgreens pharmacy order. It was $13. I also said it was a high pay order. And that one, even though the distance was extremely far, that one was also one that was probably like 20 minutes, I want to say. So pretty nice. But for some weird reason, I had to wait a really long time for my next order. I didn't even receive a single offer after. I was kind of in a hotspot already, but I didn't like it because it was on the edge of my zone. So I went to another hotspot, and I waited like more than 5 minutes for another offer to hit my phone, which is something that I really have not had a problem with at all throughout this entire time when I'm increasing my acceptance rate. But it did eventually hit my phone with like $5 for like 9 miles. No thanks. Had to make that my second decline of the day. If you're counting the DoorDash glitch, then I guess that's my third decline of the day. But we did get one for Postino, and this one was a little over $10, and it was going. This one's taking me outside my zone, so I'm not happy about it, but that is just what we have to do, and we're gonna take care of this. And by the time this is over and then my next one is done, we will be in the heart of the dinner rush, and I'm expecting big things. The Postino order really wasn't as bad as I was expecting. I still got more than $10 for that one. And then we moved on to a Raising Cane's order for $4.50, and I had to place the order, so I went through the drive-thru, placed it, and that was actually kind of quick, but still like $4.50 for this, especially because the customer put in the wrong address to their apartment complex. Thankfully it was just like one apartment complex over, but I delivered it. I took a picture, and then they texted me like 1 minute later and was like, that's the wrong apartment. I'm like, I'm at the address that was in the app. I don't know what you want me to say, but they did text me the correct address, and I was like, okay, I can actually walk there. So it wasn't that big of a deal. I was able to figure it out, and whatever. Then we got a $22 order. I had to drive 5.5 miles to this restaurant, and I get here and it's not even in their system. So they said like 15-minute wait, but it's a $22 payout, and I already drove more than half the miles on this entire order to get here, so I'm just gonna keep it. That $22 order is taken care of. It was for, there were 2 orders, but it was for the same restaurant and the same customer. I guess they just forgot to add something, and so that's why it counted as 2 orders. But there was one that I rejected before I got that one. It was for Chick-fil-A, bringing me way out of my zone. Couldn't do that. And then there was one after the $22 order, and it was for Outback Steakhouse for over $12. So of course I decided to accept that. We're getting kind of close to 80% acceptance now, which I don't know if I'm gonna get better orders because my acceptance rate is higher. I think like once it hits 70%, it's probably as good as it's gonna get. But it's always interesting to test things out. Outback Steakhouse order was pretty solid, and afterwards I got one for Sprouts. I had to shop for 2 items, and I'm really sad that like the shopping and paying aspect, like it doesn't have any factor into the high pay order, because I mean this one, like, yes, it is a high pay order, but I still had to shop for the items, and it just takes longer than a normal $10 order for 6 miles would be. And then we also got an add-on order here for $7.50 for Walgreens. It was to a customer, a different customer, but dropping off in the same apartment complex. So sure, why don't I do that? When I dropped it off, it said, oh, the amount you earned is higher, but it said like $2.75. I have no idea why it said that. That seems weird, but it was also higher than the $7.50 I accepted it for. It was $8.50. Whatever. I understand that I'm not going to figure out all of what DoorDash does, but whatever. After those 2 drop-offs, I got 2 terrible orders in a row, complete garbage. I am so shocked that I still get sent these orders, even though my acceptance rate's so high. DoorDash should be wanting to send me the really good ones, or at least that's what they say, but whatever. I had to decline those. I couldn't do any of those. But we are working on an $8 order now for like 5 miles, and ordinarily, no, I would say this is a bad order. I mean, I think it is a bad order because the place I'm dropping off is just not a good spot. I just don't have cell phone service in that area, so I always reject orders like this, but I can't pass up this one, so we're just gonna have to hope for the best here. Well, the $8 order wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but that was before I got an $8.50 order for some burros, and it was taking me a really far distance, way out of my way, and I felt like I had a lot of declined orders lately, so I just went ahead and I accepted it. I was just like, fine, whatever, like, that's really annoying, I gotta take this one, but gotta keep the acceptance rate high, woohoo. But I'm not a complete fool, because there were 2 orders again that were so bad. I just could not handle it. So I just declined them. And because I've been accepting so many orders lately, it only dropped my acceptance rate to 78%. So I'm pretty far away from going back under 70. So I feel like I've been doing a good job so far. On our way back into the hotspot, I picked up a $6 order that was taking me 2.7 miles closer to the hotspot. So you gotta love it there. That one, it was almost ready, just had to wait like 1 minute, and then we dropped it off the apartment complex. And I did have Uber Eats on for the past like 15 minutes, just because I felt like things were kind of winding down in the dinner shift, and so I wanted to make sure that I had both apps available to me. I had rejected a few, but we got one for Jersey Mike's for $8.75 for under 2 miles, and of course I'm going to accept that. So I just had to pause DoorDash right before I dropped that one off to make sure they didn't actually send me something that I would have to accept. So we did that Jersey Mike's order like really quickly, and then unpaused myself on DoorDash, and we got another catering order. I think this is the 4th one of the day, so my earnings might be skewed a little bit in the positive direction, but I'm okay with that because that makes me happy. I make more money that way. And we got this taken care of. It was actually like really quick, like less than 30 minutes. Of course, I did have to drive like 8 miles back into the the hotspot after I dropped it off, but $27, that is really, really solid. And we are almost at 10 hours, but I'm gonna have to call it here just because I just don't want to unpause myself from DoorDash just because I don't want to go another 12 miles out of the way. So today we made $8.75 on Uber and $311.49 on DoorDash, delivering 4 no-tip orders, finishing with $320 in this 10-hour shift, and my acceptance rate is at 78%, which is good enough for me. I also drove a little over 140 miles. I'll absolutely take that for the earnings I had today. How I'm tracking my mileage is solo. If you download it, you get $10 for free if you link 1 gig account and Venmo or PayPal, and I just love the app, so I'd recommend downloading it. But of course, if you don't like the app, you can always delete it later. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.